After the break, chat box will be up next. So join us in the chat room.
Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Chatbox on Signature TV. Talk now, talk now.
Good evening, everybody
No.
out there.
I don't understand.
Right now, this is another episode
I just said that.
of Chatbox.
But I just said that.
I'm talking down.
Okay.
We are handing over this particular edition to your hands. You viewers, we need your comments down there. I'm your baby girl, Queenette Wokonta.
And I'm your lovely, beautiful host, Uchenna, as you already know. And we have...
By my right hand.
You must always say whether it's by your right hand or by your left hand.
By my right hand.
Must you emphasize it?
Wait till God concern you.
Oh yeah, continue.
By my right hand is... Please introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Mr. Nwachukwu Nnamdi.
Mr. Nwachukwu Nnamdi.
Yeah.
Yes. He's in our midst right now.
Uche, please.
Okay, so we have a very sensitive topic to talk about. Uche, please, I think you should do
Why?
nothing.
It's disclaimer. We started this show. You say I'll start it. Now to introduce the topic, you still want to say I should introduce the topic.
Yeah.
Why? Okay, I will take it that she doesn't know what to say, so I'm going to save the day once again, as I always do. So basically, we want to talk about raising African children, because as African children that we are, we want to talk about how raising African children to compete in the global society, or rather globally. Yes, as African, we are leaders of tomorrow. Uche, I mean, Queenette, we are leaders of tomorrow, are we not?
Yeah.
Thank you. Please, over to our guest.
Yeah, our guest will be talking with one of the good girls today. At some point.
Yeah, we don't want to talk too much.
Don't want to talk too much.
So we're going to allow our guest to do the talking today. So the floor is yours.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm allowed to talk now, right?
Yes, you are allowed to talk.
All right. First of all, I want to declare publicly that I'm a lover of children. I love children so much, and it has been my heart desire to see the welfare of children and to ensure that children are raised properly and produced as productive adults by meaningful parents. Well, actually, the theme of this program, or this project, I would rather term it, is raising super African children. Raising super African children. The purpose for this theme is because of what I have discovered in the African continent and the world at large. Most times as parents, we discover that there are discrepancies that are yet to be filled. There are gaps in parenting that are yet to be filled, especially within the African environment. And given that the world is becoming more globalized, the world is becoming more interconnected, and there is space for competition and superiority scenarios all over the globe, then the African child specifically is justified for this project. Number one, because I am an African, and being an African, I'm actually a Nigerian. And secondly, because of the love I have for children, that has solidified my passion to see this happen. And thirdly, the productive African is actually an asset to the African economy or continent, or let me say Nigeria as a case study, because we all know that from the childhood stage to the late adulthood stage, they are linked. And the childhood stage is actually the stage of the foundation. And if we can educate parents and enlighten parents and empower the average African parent on how best to raise these children, I think we're going to have a better African or better Africa as a continent. Because if you look at it holistically, and I'm not trying to be pessimistic, the future is not too bright for Africa based on the antecedents and based on present circumstances. And one of the strategies that can help us to get better replacements as adults who are actually going to pass on someday is to raise and empower and to nurture our replacements, which are our children. And so this project is about educating parents, educating child caregivers, teachers, anybody who is involved in child raising, trying to educate them on how best to raise an African child. And being super in this context means we want that child to be able to be empowered to compete globally and to be a full-fledged representative of the African economy. That's actually the essence of this whole project. Okay, so it's just all about empowering the parents, empowering child caregivers, given that the future of Africa is actually dependent on the next generation. That's the
Do
context.
you have a specific dynamic of how African parents should raise their children? Because as for me and my household, my mama trained me with, circumstances that you clearly said makes us not to be that leaders of tomorrow we are supposed to be. And we don't get to a certain point we're supposed to get to. So, do you have any dynamics of how you want African
Like,
parents?
what do you mean?
Yeah. Do you want? Is there any strategic steps you want them to use in training African children?
Super in front.
Super.
Thank you.
Super African children. I don't know. Like I said, I think I have a good upbringing and good
See, the
training.
for me, yeah, like, in as much as we are saying, like, parent, like, to become global, like raising children to compete globally, at the same time I feel it boils down to parents too, but I feel like even the society we are in are not even helping us to compete globally. So at the end of the day, it's not particularly the parents, because I mean, the parents, when it comes to like raising the child, like,
So does it
I
boil
would
down
I
to
would
schools?
generally
Does it boil
say
down to schools?
like parents have, like, generally, I know that there are exceptions to parenting, but generally most African parents actually try the best they can
Yeah.
to raise their children, both like in behavior, both in academics, and considering that they have never been parents before, so they are parenting how they know how to best. I mean, it's their first time parenting, so they are doing it how they can best. But like the society in itself, where the child finds, his or herself, is not even helping them to be in a position where they can compete globally.
Okay, well, I want to start from her own question or what she proposed about the specific strategies that we want to help them to engage. First of all the places I've gone to as a resource person and most of the radio stations, I've always proposed 3 strategies.
Okay.
The first one is to ensure that the child experiences healthy brain development. That's the first step. Healthy brain development. Because statistics have revealed that a lot of parents are not intentional to ensure that their children experience a healthy brain development.
What do you mean by healthy brain development?
For the brain to develop optimally. Of course, when your child comes into the world, the brain is subject to be developed or underdeveloped. Yes, there are strategies you have to engage. It has to be intentional. Most times, some parents leave it by default. They do what they feel that they can do best, not knowing that there are actually extra steps you can engage.
I agree with you on that.
Yes, to ensure that the
I
child.
just thought of something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have actually had so much experience as a tutor, both in the university environment and in other sections of schooling. I've discovered that some adults today are paying the price for not experiencing a healthy brain development. You see some mothers who, I may not actually have to go into the specific ways today because of time, but
Just tell us one or two.
okay, you actually see some mothers, even when they were pregnant, they do not engage some optimal practices of a pregnant woman, not knowing fully well that whatever they are doing, some things they are consuming some places they're going to, and some of the exposures, they're affecting the child's neural development, brain development. And when that child comes out and begins to grow or further experiences brain underdevelopment, there is actually a missing opportunity from that dimension. And UNICEF has reported some scary statistics that so many Nigerian children did not experience healthy brain development. It's all over the place, and it reflects in some of the things they do. Some of them experience poor memory loss when they become adults. Some of them lack some coordinations. In fact, if I have to go deeply into it, I may even start getting emotional. So that's why I want to, stop at a particular stage. So poor brain development has been one of the challenges we've been having, because most parents, because the brain is enclosed inside the skull, most parents cannot, they don't know when it is actually performing well or when it's not performing well, especially at the early stage. So one of the thematic focus of this project is to educate parents on how best to ensure that their children experiences healthy brain development.
When you talk about healthy brain development,
yes,
and I immediately said I agree with you. What came to my mind is, when most mothers, or let me not even say mothers, parents, both the father and the mother, when they have their child and their child is growing like a couple of months, I think each month there is something the child can do, and
there are stages.
There are stages to. Yes. But I've seen situations where a toddler, maybe the child has started crawling or
yes,
things like that, and you find, there are things most African homes or parents find irrelevant that are very relevant. Things like toys.
Yes.
Toys, or these Lego blocks. Those things, in their own way, they help children with concentration.
Yes.
And they help children with like problem solving skills. And at that young age, when they have to like build, those things now, those Lego things where they can dismantle it. And another thing most African homes kind of neglect is cartoons. And I know most African homes, they'll be like, no, cartoons, maybe they will put one movie, African Magic. And I come to a house where you see like a toddler, and you're watching, what are you watching? You get, to me, you're retarding that child, like mentally, because at that stage, that whatever you're watching is actually of no consequence. That child needs colors. That child needs to see, like, children, they have very short attention spans. And so those cartoons, because of the way they make it look, it helps them to like sit down and focus. They learn new words, they learn how to pronounce things. Some of them even learn how to say small things, like small things, like learn how to talk and things like that. I think they help when it comes to like brain development, especially when it comes to like concentration. Even like all these color books. Like, I'm just starting from like toddlers, because we're talking about raising African children. Now, when you're talking about raising African, you have to start from like he said, from the belly, and then when they come into the world, the things you feed them with as parents, the things you make them interact with, things they see, some people that they don't read now is because they were not raised with it.
Yes.
Now, I want to personalize it. Growing up, my parents got me so many storybooks. Lady Bird. I read almost everything. Snow White or Cinderella, or all of them. I read it. In fact, like, I still have, and it helped, like, as I grew, for each age I was in, they got me books for my age. So it helped me a lot with concentration. Like, I can sit down and read a book for hours and not get tired. Most people now can't do it. And reading is something that helps people develop greatly. Yes. And when you find young people or or children not being able to read even the littlest piece of paper, how do you want the child to compete globally? Do you understand? When see, I don't know if you guys get what I'm saying, but like,
you're lying.
I had a good
but
yes,
so I don't know about all that.
So yes, like cartoons, color books,
reading books, even all these Bible recitation they give in church. It's part of it. It's part of brain development. because you're literally reading the Bible and you have to cram it, memorize it in your brain. You know that thing is stuck there. If I come out in presence of people, I have to give it my best.
Exactly.
And the idea that you said they don't pay attention to it. You will see a situation whereby they give your child a recitation in school. He has a presentation in the morning devotion, and you are not available to teach that child. It could even be social studies, family, what's the simplest topic now for primary school children? And that child is meant to read, build his confidence, use his tenses right,
Yes.
to stand in front of people,
Yeah.
to do that presentation. Parents, they feel, oh, they taught you in school, so it's something you
Exactly.
can do. But you don't know that child needs your presence to build his confidence.
Yeah, most
Because stage fright is real. Some children
most
peek
African
on
parents
themselves
do
while
that.
standing on
Most
stage.
African parents
So
do
you
that.
don't- and another thing is they don't know that sense of encouragement, especially when that child is learning.
Slow or things, yeah.
Is needed. You know, he says one sentence, you clap for him. You're doing great. You understand? Just boost him in morale, that kind of thing. Boost his morale. Even people, the funniest part is that even when on stage, say while they are there presenting, parents don't know that shouting "That's my child," spraying that child money helps that child. They have no idea. What they're even looking for is the mistake you're going to make.
Exactly.
You want like when you now come out, they'll tell you what.
It's your mate, and you cannot do that simple thing.
Exactly.
It's in that
Parents,
that
parents-
if it's me, I won't come out.
Parents leave a lot to teachers. They leave a lot to school, and in as much as I agree that the school is a big,
Mhm.
a huge factor when it comes to that. I feel like this thing I'm saying now about color books and watching things to watch.
Yeah.
I've been in a place where a parent is like, he doesn't pay attention, and I'm like,
You
see,
can't teach him how to pay attention.
you see, your child cannot be used to what he's not used to.
I
Like, do you understand?
I mean,
There's a first time for everything.
Mhm.
Once your child starts getting used to cartoons, starts getting used to playing with toys,
Mhm.
the day you take away that toy from that child, or the day you change the channel from Cartoon Network to Al Jazeera or
That-
Signature TV.
You know, there's some of that brain improving the brain.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm going to give an example of my little cousin that came for holiday. You know, in the morning, my dad watched Arise News from morning till. If my cousin wakes up, he's more like, can I change? In fact, he tries to wake up earlier than 7 a.m. so that he can have few hours to watch Nat Geo Wild.
Yeah.
No, not Nat Geo, Nickelodeon,
Okay.
Nick Jr. and the likes.
Mhm.
His favorite cartoon is SpongeBob SquarePants.
Okay.
And there's this other cartoon that is Puppy Dogs. Teach
Yeah.
them how to arrange the room, pick your things, things like that. So in his brain, if you stop him from watching that cartoon, you have killed him. It's not, you would see his face, and children are so cute. You will see his face automatically change that he cannot watch his favorite cartoon. Then you now come again after the whole 3 hours you spent there. You will now change it to African Magic. What do you expect him to do? You start playing with himself, his hands, his toys and the likes.
Yes.
So these are the issues that you have no idea about. If you find that child laughing to SpongeBob SquarePants,
Yes.
laughing seriously, but you're there. Sometimes I don't know if they want that child to understand what's happening in African Magic Epic. I don't
It
understand.
beats my imagination.
Because you're sitting, and there's a child in between. What he should learn how to kiss or what? He should learn how to
No. That's actually where we calling for intentional parenting.
Yeah.
For you to be a parent, you have to be intentional. When I started this project, I was actually a bachelor. Now I'm a father of 3. I've seen actually there's a big difference between not getting married with children and getting married with
With children.
Now I had to engage every intentional knowledge I have to raise my children. Like when you are talking about the cartoon dimension, it also has its advantage. When a child is so much exposed to the screen, there's a research right now that so much screen exposure is changing the structure of our children's brain.
Are you kidding
Yeah,
me
it
right
will make them
Too much
start
screen
losing
time.
pressure. Like they won't be able to have this endurance power or staying on a thing until they complete it. because the screen will give them that, that service of sleeping.
When we talk
especially the
about
phone.
screens, I'm not talking about phone.
Well, we're in the world of phones and social media.
No,
They make tablets.
for
Yeah,
a
I can make
wait,
tablets
hold
too.
on. You
Yes.
should hold on. For a child, I'm talking of. See, when I spoke about cartoons,
Yes.
I was talking of toddlers.
Okay.
And I know that children in nursery, even primary, to watch cartoons.
Thank you for joining us on the chat room, on the segment chat box, on the signature evening this Friday evening. As we wish that you join the rest of the Nigerian Christians to celebrate this year's Easter in good health and in safety. We also wish you a good night rest. My name is Ngozika Mba, and Queensley is here still.
My name is Quincy Roland. Good night, and we'll see you on Monday.